Hi, I'm Wayne Tuttle, and this is Chasing Legends. Welcome back. I'm Wayne Tuttle. You're not. This week we're going to be doing a really kind of cool, wrapping up a lot of the Lust for Gold stuff. It was actually an interview with Robert May, the producer, Academy Award-winning producer of Fogs of War, who did Lust for Gold. So that was very cool, us getting a chance in Chasing Legends. I know we're just a little old YouTube program and all, but I actually got to do an interview with an Academy Award-winning producer. So very, very cool. First up, though, what we want to talk about right here is if you're familiar with YouTube, you will be noticing even with some of our videos, they're starting to monetize stuff on YouTube. They're just starting to creep it through, and depending on popularity and a number of other things, and it appears that all YouTube videos eventually will be monetized. So we're just going to move forward and just monetize and just allow it to happen, because we have no control over when it's going to happen and what videos and so forth. What we're going to do with any proceeds that come from the monetization, which wouldn't be that much, but we're going to use it towards marketing and towards the videos themselves. If it ever became something kind of blew itself out of the water on us, we would be looking at making charitable donations to the museum, the Historical Society, and other groups and stuff like that, because we've never been here and always said it was about entertainment and education, never was about the money. So just so if everybody starts seeing that creep in, it was kind of, we noticed it was happening, we were aware it was going to start to happen more and more, and we decided it's just better just to let it come through than you sit there and wonder why some videos will be monetized and some wouldn't. It's just to start to move forward with that and realize we'll make the transition. Unfortunate circumstance for us, because we like to be in the unmonetized program, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. That being done and having covered that, I mentioned the fact that this is Robert May, and we got to do a sit-down interview with him at the Arizona Film Festival. And I know we've run quite a number of videos kind of emanating out of there, and this was one of the last ones we did before the premiere. Very cool to sit down with Robert May. Him and Bob Brown were awesome, have continued to be awesome to us. Right now, if anybody checks on social media, Harkins Theaters at the Superstition Springs Mall is running the program from May 21st through the Thursday the 27th. So, and then we will be doing special appearances at a couple of the engagements, I believe. So that will be a very cool thing. There will be Lust for Gold Race Against Time posters, and we will be signing those and that stuff and distributing all that. So it's very cool. The DVD Blu-ray comes out June 15th, I believe, and there's going to be another treasure contest that anybody in the world can play from anywhere. We don't have the details on that. And there will be a sweepstakes. Sweepstakes is very cool because the winner of that will have air travel and accommodations and everything paid, and I believe it's 4 days and 3 nights in the Superstition Mountains. REI will be taking you back into the mountains, so that'll be a very, very cool sweepstakes to win involving in that. So all of that being said and done, very cool thing here. Pick up our shirts, pick up this. I'm sure I mentioned that probably while Robert May was sitting on my left anyways, anyhow. And enjoy this, because this is going to be kind of starting our wrap of the Lust for Gold stuff. We got a lot of other cool stuff coming up through the summer and stuff. We're still working towards getting those episodes for the Legends Superstition Mountains stuff. Well, there'll be more Chasing Legends, and there's some other projects we're working on we'll be announcing this summer. So it's a lot of cool stuff kind of going on and happening, all right? So until then, enjoy this interview with Robert May, Academy Award-winning producer of Fogs of War, and during the Arizona Film Festival premiere of Lust for Gold, Race Against Time. Okay, ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Hi, I'm Wayne Tuttle. Welcome back to Chasing Legends. Please hit subscribe, leave a comment in the comments you want, hit the notification bells, pick up a t-shirt, go to the About area, Legends Superstition Mountains, and Dutch Hunter Rendezvous, black and gray, long sleeve, short sleeve. I got this down like you wouldn't believe. I'm here today with Mr. Robert May.
Thank you.
Won an Academy Award for the film Fogs of War.
Fog of War.
Fog of War. Okay, I got that wrong. At least I didn't say frogs. That would have been bad.
Yes, it would
but
have been.
Interesting film.
Yes,
man.
it would have been. Yes.
Okay.
Would have changed
and
it a
Kids for
little
Cash,
bit.
another film, and I've seen a number of the films. You guys were actually very gracious, sent us a box set of all the films you guys have done. I think most of that's with Art Films, correct?
Yep.
And he is the producer today of the world premiere for Lust for Gold, Race Against Time. How did you come up with the idea to even start this? Where did that just drop out at you?
Well, my producing partner, Bob Brown, who produced this with me, basically called me one day, and he had met Bill Blackwell, who's in the film, and was telling him about this sort of fantastical story about how someone he knew had found, in essence, a new cache of gold, and they were going to go in to Superstition Mountain and literally bring out a bar of gold to prove that they found it. And Bob thought this might be a good story to follow, and they were going in one way or the other, whether they were going to be filmed or not. And so we debated it, and then we wanted to look at the logistics and how easy it was going to be. There's a lot of things to consider going in, as you know.
Yeah.
And we thought it might be a good expedition. In fact, it was originally called The Last Expedition.
Yeah.
And now it's called Lust for Gold.
Race Against Time.
Race Against Time.
And we won't talk that much about it because nobody's seen it yet.
That's right.
It will be out June 18th on DVD and Blu-ray. I got
right.
that down square.
Yep. And streaming. Yep.
And it'll be in theaters after the film festival, which day is April 18th, and between now and then. So be theaters. So contact your local theater. Try to see if they'll get it in for you. Do some sort of special event and catch us all. Now, doing that, what were the things that you mainly had to overcome? Because you're filming out in the desert. I know you got interview footage and you're doing that stuff, and that stuff you can kind of control the environment. But what's it like once you get out there?
Well, first of all, for me, like, I wasn't a camper under any circumstances. I mean, I camped in the backyard with my kids, but so just the idea of figuring out how to, like, what to do out there. And frankly, I was concerned about going to the bathroom out there. Like, how do you do that? And then, what do we do?
You drop and you go.
Well, yeah, I learned that, and then so we had to take a few lessons about how to get out there and all, and dig a hole and the shovel and the whole thing, and so that was, for me, that was the thing I sort of feared the most, because I mean, I like the outdoors, but I had never done anything like that. And to be the first, we went in 2 different sections. The first was 10 days, and the second time was 5 days. So it was a lot of time. And I remember the very first day that we hiked all in, like, I was in the middle of the night, I'm like, oh my God, we got 9 more days of this. But I think the one thing about our planning was really the logistics, like, how are we going to do this? Because we had to take our cameras in, obviously, and we are in our computers, and we were dealing with 4K footage, which is a lot of media to manage, and so power generation. So we brought in solar powered generators right on our back, and we had 5 of those, and we set up shop, and kind of had a base camp, and figured out what we were going to do. Literally, I thought in the beginning we would bring our water in, all of it, and then people would laugh at us and they said, "You're not going to bring that much water in. How are you going to do that?"
Packers.
Yeah, right. But obviously we didn't. We ended up filtering all our water, and I mean, it was quite an experience. It really was. I mean, it really changed the way I see hikers and climbers and all the people that really take full advantage of the outdoors, which I never really did.
And you went in
like
with
that.
less than a veteran group.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like you went in with me and Sal and
No.
Shoes, guys that had been spent
No.
30, 40 years back there.
No.
So that unto itself, I'm sure, had to be an experience when you were thinking, oh, what am I doing? And then
Right.
you realized on the other side of the camera, wow, this is kind of, so is there any time you're filming this and you're thinking this might not finish up?
Well, from a safety perspective, we did bring guides with us, medics with us, so that just in case, for everybody's sake. But there were certainly times when, and some of the subjects that we followed, we just went wherever they went.
Yeah.
And there was one thing I know that they wanted to do, which was really to climb to a very steep face, and we said, we don't want you to do that. But for the most part, we let them do whatever they wanted to do.
And most people don't understand that reality television, even documentaries, get a certain amount of scripting.
Right.
So you tried to really just pull back.
Absolutely.
And then just step in when you thought, we're not going to be able to do that.
Right. And that was only one time. But for the most part, what we would do is, even in advance of even flying to Phoenix, was prepare questions. We flew down, Bob Brown and I flew down a month or two before, and just sort of got the lay of the land. We didn't go out into the Superstition Mountain, but then did a lot of research. and then prepared questions before we came down. And then every day I would go over those questions again and prepare them so that I could at least ask questions of the subjects in it. But I didn't want it to feel like a talking head film. I wanted it to feel more narrative in the way it was, even though it is a documentary. We're journaling these guys to follow whatever they did. But we had to have at least some knowledge of tests, sort of the right questions. So that was the preparation when it came to like being curious, pretending we're an audience that knows nothing, which we were. We didn't know anything about what they were doing. So we just asked a lot of questions, and then they really, more than talking to us, they answered our questions more by their actions.
Is this a good omen or a bad one?
The wind blowing?
There's a giant dust devil behind you.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a dust storm.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. No
I
matter.
think it's just a
tornado,
dust
yeah.
devil, yeah.
So it took, what is it? God, it's been at least 3-4 years?
Yeah.
So what's it like going through that process? Because that isn't normal. COVID, everything, you got hit by everything to slow this thing down to a crawl. What's that like while you're sitting there, you're looking for distributors, you're trying to get this thing? I know you were hoping to get it in a year ago and then 6 months ago. What's it like each time you're coming up and you realize you got this thing in the can? You can't really move forward on other projects till you get this behind you, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've also worked on other things at the same time, but a fiction project moves much faster because there's a script, and you know the beginning, middle, and end of the story, and you just know. Whereas a documentary, you don't even know where the story's going to go. You know what the story sort of is about, but every documentary I've ever done, it's always evolved into something a little different, as this one did.
Yeah, the flowers are special effects.
Yeah, I guess they are. They're coming. But I think the interesting thing about documentary is that you never really know where the story's going. And documentary takes a lot longer than fiction films to do, because the editing process alone, for example, you're always looking for the story. And it literally every documentary we've done has taken multiple years just in the editing alone, including this project.
Now, I'd be remiss. When you get the Academy Award, are you the guys the night before that don't get to be on television?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, when you get the Academy Award, when they do the Academy Awards for a film or something, do they do your award?
Oh,
the one that's never on TV?
The documentary category is televised.
Okay,
Yeah, I know
so
what
it
you
was
mean.
televised?
Yeah, it is. The
Were you
crowds.
there for the moment? When
Oh
they
yeah,
did-
yeah, of course.
What was that moment like?
Well, it was great. As a matter of fact, there was another film we had that had come out years before called Stevie. That was shortlisted for Academy Award, and Lionsgate released that movie. And I just happened to be sitting next to the head at the time of Lionsgate, and we were talking about how that film Stevie, really should have been at least nominated, but was only shortlisted. So when we won the Oscar for The Fog of War, it just felt really good, just to be there, and felt, well, with that, at least we got this one.
You have your Oscar?
The way Oscar works is they don't give everybody an Oscar.
Yeah, I know
literally.
that. So I'm wondering. That's what I was wondering.
So no, we physically don't have a statue.
So many people I've known that got Grammys, they're like, it's in a box in the closet.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you got one. Would it be in the box in the closet at this point?
Probably not.
Probably
no.
not.
So, the other awards we've got for other projects, we have them, but I mean, it's not on public display.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have that business office and everything's out there.
No, we don't.
You're not like Frank Augustine, who has a poster of himself over at his fireplace.
So you say.
He does. Okay, so one last question, because we want to let you get back, because you're busy today. This is your busy day.
Well, partly because of the treasure hunt that we have got going on here. Yeah.
And the treasure hunt's going on, and we're not really pushing it too much because nobody's going to see this.
Exactly.
It's after the fact. But in doing this documentary, Lust for Gold Race for Kids Time, who was the favorite subject you got to work with on this film?
Think about that. Well, there was you. You were in it.
There was me.
But then there were other people too.
We could refer to them as other people.
I would say it might just be Wayne Tuttle.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, I think so. I think it might just be Wayne Tuttle.
It was just, and it was absolutely awesome. We welcomed you into our house and kind of did that. And I did not know at the time, having worked with other people, and you know this, but a lot of people don't know, is probably 50-60% of all film projects go nowhere.
Yeah, I know.
They just die.
I know.
They just fall out, they disappear, they don't make television as things progress. When we did Legends, they let us know when they brought out the photographer and when they were doing our headshots and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like you might go. I mean, it's down to almost sometimes 30 days close to the airtime. And so it's just kind of sort of very cool thing to actually remember back when I was younger, you were younger, we were all younger.
Yeah, we were.
And we did that little bit, and then I look back at it and go like, wow, these years later to see that actually came out, and it came out well.
Do
Because
you-
I've actually got to see the film.
I know you have. Do you remember how it is we got to you?
I know the Treasure Hunt of the Year awards, but I don't know how specifically or who or what or where.
Well,
or
I'll
when.
tell you. In part of the research I was doing before we ever shot a frame of
Yeah.
film, literally we watched the original 1949 film, Lust for Gold.
Okay.
And,
Based on
and-
Barry Storm's Thunder God's Gold.
That's right. And because Robert Kesselring really followed that book, it was just, as a child he followed the book, and it was something he always thought about. Literally, he said next to the Bible, it was Thunder God's Gold. And so we watched that movie. And the other thing is, I watched every episode of Legends of Superstition Mountain, and I saw you as the host of sorts. And I thought, we got to get this guy because you were legit, I thought. And
You
and
thought?
I did think.
You did think?
That
You
was
still
then.
think?
But no, and I remember thinking like you're because when you do a documentary, and especially one like this, where there's controversy associated with it, you want people to speak to a lot of what's going on.
Yeah.
And so an audience can have a range of, like an arc, really, a range of entertainment, and they can choose what to believe and what not to believe. And I think you really helped us because you're with your wealth of knowledge and treasure hunting and all. But I think you really helped us really, along with Ron Feldman and Rick Wen and Marshall Trimble as well,
Shoes.
and Bob Shoes, all sort of helped to frame the whole story in a way that we found really entertaining, and so did audiences that we tested the film.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I had to say about the film, and I got to watch the first cut,
Yep.
which I enjoyed very much,
Yep.
and then I understand why you changed,
Yep.
made the changes
Yep.
you made for the second. But in watching both, it came off as like, wow, it's a little too real, because you realize I run into people like that
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
and I see this, and you're listening, and I thought the Feldman, Shoes, my stuff really came off very sincere and well. And it's kind of like the guys talking behind the scenes,
Yeah,
but
right.
it worked out really well. So you guys did such a great job putting the film together.
Well, thank you.
And the fact that I was able to step back and say, usually you cringe when you're in something, but
Yeah.
I actually was able to sit back, and the people, almost everyone in the film I knew to some degree, and I was able to step back and say, actually enjoying this. I'm kind of laughing in the right parts. And the cringing comes with the territory,
Yeah, right,
being a treasure
right.
hunter. But no, I was able to sit there and just say, wow, that was a job well done on your guys' part. And it allowed me to step back and look at something documentary film-wise, because I've seen a lot of, I'm a big fan of documentary films. And I was able to step back and say, I wish people would do this more like this, because there's way too often it becomes narrated.
Yes. Yeah,
And
right,
you did
right.
not have that narrative. You let the commentary and that stuff take over, and then the first person, and that kind of allowed it to evolve and everything, and let you kind of watch it play out much better than having the guy, the voice of God, coming in and talking and trying to steer you through the film.
Personally, because that's not my style of film. Like, if you look at all the documentaries we've done, Stevie was the first, and it has Steve James, who was the filmmaker in that particular film. He did his voice. He did narrate, except he was part of the movie. You literally see him in the movie,
Yeah.
because it's about an advocate big brother situation, and he was the advocate big brother of this kid Stevie. So it made sense. But if you look at the War Tapes, which is a film that was told by National Guard soldiers that were in Iraq for a whole year, they do all the talking. And Kids for Cash, same thing. There is no voiceover in Kids for Fog of War was different because it's Robert McNamara, his story.
Yeah.
That was quite different. And then that's what makes documentary all the more challenging, when you don't want to use voiceover, because voiceover solves all problems.
It's
really.
cheating.
Yeah, it really does.
Is in a way
If you don't
cheating.
understand what's going on, we'll explain what's going on.
And it also, I always think, makes the audience seem dumb. We're going to tell
Yeah,
you.
right,
you know,
right.
You need this to be explained,
Right.
because it's too complicated for you to get otherwise.
Right, and that's one of the reasons it takes so long for documentary, when you're doing it this way, anyway, because you're writing with words that have already been spoken,
Yeah.
and you have to keep them. It's not like a reality show in that they all have to be in context.
Yeah.
We have an obligation to that. Otherwise, it would be more of a reality
Well,
show than a document.
And in an aspect with reality show, I always tell people, is we film 6 days a week. It was 12 to 15
Yeah.
hours a day. They literally keep trying to push narratives.
That's right.
And then they just cut it. So I
Right.
said, you end up with thousands of hours of
Right.
film, and they're able to build that story. So when I saw the show, that's not what I went through.
That's right.
It's very different the way it kind of patterns out, and people don't understand that. But obviously, in your case, doing this, there was no way you would have been able to do that kind of
Right.
8-10 weeks of constant 6 days a week.
No,
And one last thing, couple last things here. How big was the crew that you operated on this with?
Well, we had 2 camera operators. We had a sound
Yeah.
technician, and myself and Bob Brown, our other producer, and the media management was all done by one of the camera operators, who happens to be my son, Evan, and he handled all the media management. This is all in the field itself.
Yeah.
Because if a narrative crew, a fictional crew, went into Superstition Mountain or wherever they went, they would have had 50, 60 people.
Yeah, it can be 30, 40 people.
Oh, easy, very easy.
Yeah,
And
because you usually run 4 or 5 camera guys, then you need a backup who's running batteries and packs, and then you need
Right.
directors and assistants
Everything.
of the director. Yeah.
But we had to be self-sufficient. That's one thing about documentary filmmaking too. It's more gritty. You have to do a lot. You have to wear a lot of hats,
Yeah,
and so that's why we just have a small team.
that's very good.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for doing this because I know you're so busy and you're probably itching to get back, but I hope you're enjoying it so
No,
much.
I
you
am.
forgot
I'm
everything.
very much enjoying it.
Yeah, so I try to do well on this.
No, it's always a lot of fun spending time with you.
And all of 505 people will watch this? No, thousands? Yeah. Now, we'll see.
It should be thousands.
It should be thousands.
It should be tens of
You never
thousands,
know.
I think.
We had a little
personally.
problem with A&E recently, so, as you know.
Well, I heard about it, but I don't know much about it. So.
Yeah, you don't want to know about
All
it.
right. Yeah, okay.
It's the business. Anyways, I want to thank Robert May because this is awesome, because it was a pleasure working with you. And over the last few years, you've stayed in touch.
Yes.
One other big plus, this gentleman will actually text you back, call you back, answer the phone, let you know what's going on. That doesn't always happen
I
in
know.
the business.
I know.
In the business, sometimes even people you're working with on a project right in the immediate moment,
Yeah.
when they're working with you, I mean, they won't even answer a text when you're sitting there
Right.
eating lunch, wondering, do I need to be back on set? So it was a pleasure and all that. You guys are very professional and communicate awesome. And I hope all of us, including myself, Shoes, Salvador, Rick Gwynn, and everybody you got to work with, Bob Kesselring and Bill Blackwell, I hope we all gave you a good experience.
Absolutely. The kind of stories that I'm most interested in are character-driven stories, and we met plenty of characters, present characters included, in the telling of the story. And I think it's just one of the best things about what I do, and I have great respect for the people that literally will allow us into their lives, like you.
Yeah, see, there you go. Well, thank you, Robert May. I'm Wayne Tuttle. This was Chasing Legends. Thanks for everybody for watching. Take care, and we'll catch you next week.